Well, we came out to the barn to move the ewes and lambs around to give them some more room, and we found a surprise. So what we need to do today is rearrange kind of how we have the lambs set up, give them some more room, and kind of move the older lambs and ewes off in one area and the younger ewes and lambs off in the other. So we came out to the barn to start this project, and this ewe was in labor. She already had both her lambs on the ground. We were inside eating lunch. I hadn't been checking the cameras probably in a couple hours, so she went ahead and had her lambs. She was due anytime from today on, so that's good. Have a set of twin lambs. There's one, there's one. They're probably only about a half hour old now, but what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna move this group of our older lambs and ewes. We're gonna run them through that green gate, and so they can get in that front area back where they were when they all went into labor. We're doing that so they have more feeder room, more space, and it'll be easier to sort the ewes off or the lambs off whenever we go to wean. So we're gonna run those through that green gate. So the plan will be, once we run those ewes out of that back pen, we'll be able to open up these two lambing jugs and have these two ewes go down into that area. So they have that creep area. We'll set up a new creep area right here for the lambs that are getting moved down to the big pen. And this ewe and her lambs will then move into that lambing jug. We figured she'd be having her lamb anytime in the next few days. I didn't think she'd come directly on her due date, so caught us a little off guard, but oh well. So it's been a couple days. We'll check in on these lambs. These are the lambs that we found that were born there. It's a set of twin ewe lambs. They both seem to be doing good. Mother's taking good care of them here. We were a little worried. This one here closest to us, or actually no, I'm wrong. It's that one, the furthest one up. Her ears were kind of droopy the other night, so we gave her some vitamins, and she's really perked up and coming around. We're happy. These lambs right now are going on 4 days old, so they're doing good. We need to get in there and band their tails, but the mother's taking care of them real good. And I thought I had another week about before that ewe would lamb, just because of the way she was due. I figured she'd be coming basically about 6 days after when she actually had the lamb. So with moving everybody around, I wasn't planning on having to set up a creep feeder area so fast from the original plan that we had when we walked out into the barn. So what I ended up doing is, because I was kind of in a rush at that point, needed to get something done pretty quick, I took to get apart one of the wooden gates that I built. The 4-foot gate. I took it apart, the bottom two straps across it, or the middle two I should say, and ran them up and down, and so the lambs can pass through these 3 holes here into this area. They have a bigger creep feed area, and that's doing really good for us because these bottle lambs are down to about 5 ounces of milk a day this week, because they're going to be completely weaned off milk once we pull the lambs out of this pen and move them over into the middle aisle there to basically complete the weaning process. So this is the area now of all the ewes that have already had their lambs. The lambs can access that little creep area there, and we moved them out so that way we can make sure the ewes can get at plenty of feeder room with hay storage there. So they have that, and then you got the creep feeding area, this lambing jug area. And the ideal plan is with this jug, with the ewe that just had the lambs there on Friday, we'll be able to open this wooden gate and allow her in here with her 2 lambs, with these 3. So that way they're all a lot closer to age. There'll only be about a basically 20-day age difference between the oldest to youngest lamb then. And that way we can kind of focus on their creep feed intake, and we're not worried about the amount of feed that these ewes are getting while we're trying to knock down the amount of feed that the other ewes are getting. That way it doesn't affect their milk production while these lambs still need it. But these guys are all here. They really enjoy the area they have. These 3 lambs are in this pen now. I've noticed that they started using this little creep area, and the 1 lamb is going on 2-week-old this coming weekend. So we're going to start adding in some of the creep feed pellets in here to let them start getting used to a grain diet. And with that ewe having her set of twins, that brings us down to 1 more ewe that could possibly be lambing. She was marked with the crown marker that we used on the ram. She could be due anytime up through, I think, for another 7 days from today, so until about the middle of April. And we're just going to keep an eye on her. But one concern that I have is I've been really trying to get in there and look at her, and she doesn't have any kind of udder really developed. So I'm not really sure if she's bred. But if she is, we got a concern already, so we made sure we have plenty of colostrum on hand just in case she has lambs and she doesn't have any milk. The little fact about her, she was the last lamb we had born last year, and she was one of the reasons why we're having later lambs out of this group this year, is because we kind of held back so that way we knew that she was at least a year old when she'd be having lambs. But like I said, we're really concerned right now is she even bred? And if she is, we're going to have to provide colostrum as of right now because she doesn't have any milk. So we know the end date is about, I think it's April 22nd. After April 22nd, that just means that she wasn't bred. One thing we've talked about doing in the future is getting them out a vet or somebody to like sonogram the ewes, or just to do a general preg check on them. But this year, with buying in bred ewes and having our ewes in 2 different groups, we really didn't mess with that because, like I said, everybody got marked with the crown marker, and it was so spread out in the breeding that we figured we might as well wait on that until they're a little bit of tighter window, because currently the first lamb we had drop this year was born on January 12th, and we're into April, and we're still in the lambing process. So it's been kind of a long, drawn-out, stretched-out process that we're kind of happy to see this coming to an end. Just because of the amount of work and worrisome that goes into it, making sure that you're always ready to jump into action to help if they need it, and have supplies on hand, and basically concerned about the ewe health and lamb health. But we're glad to see it wrapping up. We're pretty happy with the results. And that'll wrap up this video. Thanks for watching.